An umbrella for the storm: how parenting support may help autistic families during uncertain times. A study by Dr. Melanie Palmer and colleagues in the United Kingdom. Let us draw a picture of a family with an autistic child. Many autistic children experience strong emotions and challenging behaviors, such as irritability, meltdowns, or anxiety. These difficulties do not just affect the child, they also affect the parents, who often feel stressed, exhausted, and unsure how to help. Parenting programs that teach practical strategies are known to work well for non-autistic children, and there is a growing proof that these programs can help families with autistic kids. However, a timing problem appears. Sometimes these programs do not show clear benefits right away. It takes some time to prove effectiveness. The COVID-19 pandemic created an unexpected test for this idea. Lockdown, school closures, and sudden changes to daily life made everything more unpredictable and difficult to handle. The researchers saw a chance to ask whether skills taught earlier might help and make life easier during uncertain times. The study focuses on a key question: did the parenting program called predictive parenting help parents and kids cope better over the long term, especially during stressful and unpredictable conditions of the COVID-19 lockdown? This raises another question: whether the benefit of parenting program is only visible much later rather than immediately after the course ends. To answer this, the researchers followed up families who took part in a smaller randomized controlled trial a few years earlier. In the original study, parents of 62 autistic kids aged around 6 to 8 were randomly placed into two groups. One group attended predictive parenting, a 12-week course that teaches parents to spot behavioral patterns that make life more predictable, helping children cope with uncertainty. The second group attended a psychoeducation program, which provided information and support but no specific behavior management strategy. Think of this as the difference between understanding music theory versus hearing the band rush the tempo and changing your rhythm before the song falls apart. Parents had completed questionnaires at 3 points: before the program started, shortly after it ended, and again 2 years later. The researchers focused on two main outcomes reported by parents: how irritable their child was and how stressed they felt as parents. They compared the two groups in a fair way, taking into account how stressed or irritable families were before the program began. Looking at a standard effect size Cohen's d to measure how large any differences were. They also used a method called area under the curve, which looks at the whole journey across time rather than focusing on one just snapshot trying to get a full picture. In addition, a smaller group of parents took part in interviews to describe their experiences in their own words. Early results shortly after the program ended showed no meaningful difference between the two groups, making the interventions look ineffective at least in the short term. However, 2 years later, during the COVID-19 lockdowns, parents who took part in predictive parenting reported somewhat lower child irritability and lower parenting stress. These effects were statistically significant but small. Parents still use strategies from the program, such as planning ahead, keeping routines clear, simplifying language, and understanding why a child behaves in a certain way rather than reacting in the moment. One parent describes stepping back and asking what is driving this behavior instead of feeling overwhelmed, like reading a map instead of panicking when you feel lost. At the same time, when the researchers looked at the full picture across all time points, the overall effect was not statistically significant. This means that while differences appeared later, the evidence was not strong enough to say that the program clearly outperformed the comparison group. So, there was a faint glimpse. The studies still have some limitations that need to be addressed in the future studies, such as parents self-reporting, the absence of a follow-up plan from the beginning, and the lack of information about what happened over the 2 years with the families and whether they received any additional training or support. Also, the results need to be compared with other current programs to assess their success rate. The study suggests that the predictive parenting may offer benefits that appear slowly and become more visible during times of stress or uncertainty. However, the messages do not fully support strong claims that the program reduced child irritability or parenting stress in the long run. The authors themselves acknowledge this and urge caution, especially because the overall time average effects more not significant. Regarding conflicts of interest, the study was publicly funded and the authors report minimal conflicts. One author received payments for questionnaires and the other received some consultancy fees unrelated to this intervention, but funders has no role in how the study was designed, analyzed, or reported. Looking ahead, the findings raise important questions for future research. Parenting programs may need longer follow ups, booster sessions, or outcome measures that capture change during stressful life periods, not just calm ones. It may also be crucial to measure how parents' stress levels change, not just the children.